Hey everybody. So yesterday, FIFA held a vote and allowing the national team of Kosovo and Gibraltar to be accepted as the 210th and 211th members, respectively, of FIFA. Gibraltar, the small island rock nation just south of Spain, was already a member of UEFA. They, participated in the UEFA Euro 2016 qualifying phase. Didn't do too well, of course. But now they've been accepted into FIFA, and rumor has it that they're going to be allowed to participate in World Cup qualifying for Russia 2018. Despite the fact that the draws for the European qualifying zone having already been made last summer. They're going to have to be integrated into the groups. And the small nation of Kosovo also being added now uh, will be able to compete as both a member of UEFA and FIFA. And my thoughts on the whole thing are good. I think that there needs to be more inclusiveness in FIFA, introducing new teams into the mix. Um, of course, when looking at the two teams that are not very well known, of course, I think they're very different. And as far as looking ahead at what this means for UEFA, what this means for the national teams of Gibraltar and now Kosovo, I think that we're going to see Gibraltar essentially adopt the role of a San Marino type team, being a very well known minnow of European football, along with Luxembourg and Liechtenstein and Andorra, Faroe Islands. So I don't expect Gibraltar to have a big impact. It'll take many years for the Football Association to grow. It's a very tiny, not even a country, but a British overseas territory between Spain and Morocco. Um, so don't expect much from the Gibraltar team, though I welcome their admission into FIFA. It's always good to add more competition and allow the sport to grow so that eventually one day these minnow teams can be able to compete. Now, Kosovo is a different animal. Kosovo, for those of you who don't know, is a self declared and partially recognized independent country bordering, Serbia and Albania. And it's has a lot of history, especially in the 1990s, of the breakup of Yugoslavia, and of a lot of ethnic tensions with the Serbians, and alliance with Albania, and a lot of talent. If you look at the history of Yugoslavic soccer, a lot of talent in Europe comes out of that region, from Croatia, from Serbia, from Bosnia, from Slovenia, uh, Montenegro, and now Albania, who just qualified, as we all know, for their first tournament for next month, the European Championship in France. So I don't expect, once the Kosovo team becomes properly integrated into UEFA and the FIFA organizations, they'll be able to recruit members for their squad from neighboring Albania, who are ethnically Kosovar and from other regions of Yugoslavia. So I don't expect Kosovo to become a minnow of world football. I actually think that given enough time, they'll be able to become competitive and rival not just their Yugoslavic neighbors, but become maybe a second tier team in UEFA. And I think that could happen as soon as the 2018 or 2022 World Cup cycle. Um, for a little bit of history for those who might not know, once Serbia and Montenegro split apart in 2006, Montenegro had their own national team. And we saw in 2010 World Cup qualifying and 2012 European qualifying, Montenegro came pretty close to qualifying for the European Championships 4 years ago. There's just a lot of talent in that region. I expect Kosovo to become a competitive nation. And if it's true that they're going to be thrown in to the 2018 World Cup qualifying phase, I would not be surprised if they could pull off a few upsets. No team should want to be paired with them. They're completely different than Gibraltar. But since we're talking about World Cup qualifying, both Gibraltar and Kosovo are going to have to be thrown into the groups, which means we're going to get more matches. Now that UEFA has 55 members and Russia qualifying automatically, that means there's 54 teams. And since the tradition is usually to have groups of 6 teams, with a couple of groups only having 5 teams, I would imagine that the logical thing to do would be to take Gibraltar and Kosovo and put them into the 2 groups that only have 5 teams. So looking at UEFA qualifying, that's groups H and I. So that way it would create all equal 9 groups of 6, with the 9 group winners qualifying and the 9 group runners up heading to the playoffs. That's the way I would see the logical way to go about it. So when we look at the groups that only have 5 teams, we see Belgium, Group H, I believe, is Belgium, Greece, Bosnia, Cyprus, and Estonia. They could add Gibraltar or Kosovo to that. And then Group I, which is already really tough, Iceland, Croatia, Ukraine, Turkey, and Finland. You add Kosovo to that, that probably would be the toughest group in UEFA qualifying for the 2018 World Cup cycle. So anything can happen. And we're just going to have to see how they get integrated into the qualifying groups and how these teams do. I don't expect much from Gibraltar, as I just said, but look out for Kosovo. And at the end of the day, welcome. This is good for the sport of soccer. Welcome Kosovo and Gibraltar.